it's good to bounce back after losing a bad away game. So yeah, it was nice.
2 goals for you, which isn't a surprise, but talk us through, especially that first one. You're one-on-one with the goalkeeper. What did you see in front of you?
Goalkeeper, of course. I try to contribute for the team by doing my job, and yeah, we won again, and it's good to win. That's when everyone is happy. So that's what we try to do all the time. So now 2 more important games before international, and keep focusing.
Ryan Cherki started the match today. It seemed like you two had quite a nice partnership on there.
Yeah. We all know his qualities. So it's about trying to get the best out of everyone. And today he had 2 amazing assists to me. So yeah, hopefully many more.
We heard as well that it's the 15th time you've been subbed off in your Manchester City career on 2 goals. So how desperate were you for a hat-trick today? Did you feel like you could have got one?
Yeah, of course. So you need to ask Pep for this. I think there were probably a few fantasy managers that were not so happy when I got subbed off.
Do you ever surprise yourself? Because you're in great goal-scoring form. It seems like you're just unstoppable.
I didn't score last game, so again, I try to help the team to win. That's my goal, and even by scoring or helping them with winning duels, it doesn't matter as long as we win. That's what I want to do. I want to win games, and I want to help the team become a better football team, become a better football club. So that's my job.
Well, you are the player of the match. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you.
Me too.
Well, the thing with Erling Haaland is that the numbers are just consistently impressive. It's not just the fact that he's constantly breaking records, but he's going for targets that he's setting himself. Yeah,
he's got aspirations of being the best striker in the Premier League probably history, the best player in Norwegian history, probably the best player in the world. That's the sort of history and the thing he wants to make in his career. You see the stuff he does off the pitch, Kelly. He's the ultimate professional. He's be prepping now in the changing room for the next game. But we're surprised about Bournemouth at this stage. You know how good he is when he gets away. Bournemouth are so high up. It's probably poor defending, but brilliant from Haaland.
The way that this goal occurred, I think Gonzalez had a terrific game. Probably one of the best games in a Manchester City shirt. The way that he kind of held off the pass there from a deep position, played it in behind, and then they've got the space to use. And I think the relationship here, just the weight of that pass into Cherki, finding the 10. And again, I think Cherki was exceptional today as well. The first time header into the path. And I think about that Haaland finish as well. You've got all that grass to run into, but how do you sustain the momentum at running at speed? And the way he drops the ball down with his head into his path, he just continues to run, and he just runs away with it.
And he got another goal in the game as well. This was the one that put Manchester City, the one that put them 2-1 up. But before that, Bournemouth were level through Tyler Adams' first goal for Bournemouth. There was a little bit of a question mark as to whether Donnarumma was fouled here, whether he's got hold of his arm and it's just enough to put him off. They said he it before he was able to jump. So they didn't say that was a foul, but it was still something. Bournemouth at that stage was still pushing to get into the game and was still working to get into the game. Yeah, Bournemouth in the first half. Bournemouth were really in the game, had a foothold in it. They get back 1-1, show resilience, belief, and the third goal, obviously the second goal, and then the third goal really killed Bournemouth's opportunity. And the last periods of the game was end to end, but really Man City had control of the game. Yeah, Erling Haaland, as he said, not quite unstoppable because he's not scored in every single game, but he has scored 65% of Manchester City's Premier League goals this season, and he got his second, as I say, the one that put City in front in this game. Yeah, and playing narrow in midfield, Manchester City, a really good connection found between Foden and Cherki, and again using the space in behind. When someone goes through on goal like this in Erling Haaland, he's unstoppable. You think there's no chance he's going to miss, and here he just takes it around Petrovic, and the angle on the ball here, you just take this touch here, he just gives himself enough angle to then slide the ball into the back of the net beyond the keeper. But terrific build-up play for Man City, and I thought the midfield connection in particular in moments throughout that 90 minutes was exceptional, and that's what created those chances for that man. So it's 13 Premier League goals from his opening 10 games, only bettered by his own record in 2022-23. Les Ferdinand is in there. The other 2 spots are occupied by the other 2 seasons where Erling Haaland has played in the opening 10 games of the season. 7 of Manchester City's last 8 goals have been scored by Erling Haaland, and he's scored more than 10 of the 20 Premier League clubs so far this season. He is a phenomenon, but this season in particular, he's talked about playing fit, he's talked about feeling comfortable going into this season. Pep Guardiola's given him a bit of a hug, and then they go on to have a bit of a discussion, which Guardiola, we know, likes to do on the pitch. But given how well he feels and given how well he's talking about feeling, how important is he to Manchester City? And even coming off after a couple of goals when he's on his hat-trick and keeping him fit for the rest of the season?
Yeah, everything integral around, Matty touched on it there about the sort of professionalism that you can see that he lives his life, very professionally, which so he should, but he delivers performances that they're unstoppable. He is a phenomenon. His physicality, he's got the ability to, drop deep, protect the ball. He's got ability to run in behind. He's the perfect number 9. And a lot of people say he doesn't do much off the ball. He just scores goals. But actually what he does do is he distracts a lot of players. Just his sheer presence on the pitch, it just distracts people, and then he comes to life. And I think he showed again today why he's one of the best in the world.
And Pep Guardiola keeps being asked, are you too reliant on Haaland for goals? He said he doesn't feel the pressure of it. Haaland doesn't feel the pressure of it. Does it matter, Shay? If you've got a striker who's as prolific as Erling Haaland in the form that he's in, does it matter if they are reliant on him?
Not really, as long as he can keep him fit. That's the thing. Keep him fit, keep him firing, and there's a bit of a coming together with Haaland and Pep after. I think Haaland's saying in one more goal I get a hat-trick, and I think the interview asked him, it was 15 games he's been taken off on 2 goals, So we look at all these numbers and these records he's beaten. It could be even better if he stays on for 90 minutes, but you can understand why Pep would take him off, because of you're protecting him for the next game. You don't want to lose your main striker, and I think Ryan Cherky today deserves a special mention as well. 2 assists for him. We've not seen a lot of him in the Premier League. And I think what I've seen today, I was really excited as well. And even Haaland said there's a connection already between them 2. And we've seen in the past with De Bruyne and the like. So the next man on the conveyor belt could be Ryan Cherky.
I mean, we did see him stopped last week in terms of goal scoring, which is clearly something that's still bothering him as far as that interview is concerned. But if you stop Haaland, do you stop Manchester City? And is that easier said than done?
Yeah, definitely. But definitely not. I think that Cherky and Foden play huge parts in the goals today, and their positions in between the lines of Bournemouth's midfield and defence makes it so difficult, and they actually causes the space for Haaland to run into and him be such a killer in those areas. But without those 2 picking up those pockets of space, the opportunities don't come.
Well, David Brooks has been talking about exactly this, about how to deal with Manchester City and Erling Haaland with Pien Meulensteen.
Before it started, in the sense of the style of play and how both teams were perhaps going to be setting up and playing against each other as well. What did City do to make it difficult for Bournemouth today?
I think there's a variety of different things. I think obviously I think everyone knows we love to press, but this is one of the teams where they're extremely comfortable on the ball, even with mad amounts of pressure that we were applying to them, which is obviously a credit to them. But I think in the first half we created a lot of opportunities for ourselves through the press, and like I say, I think we pushed them all the way. But I would say the big man up top for them, Haaland, he's always going to be a threat, especially when we're being really aggressive. And today he obviously took his chances well in the first half, which kind of made us have to go after the game a little bit more in the second half. And yeah, like I say, it just kind of got away from us in the end.
You mentioned that Erling Haaland getting the 2 goals. How difficult is he to even prepare to play against a player like that?
It's almost impossible. I think obviously he's 6'5". He's absolutely rapid, strong. He's brilliant in the air. Obviously he's a fantastic player, and like I say, for large parts of the game I thought we did very well. But he's obviously a massive threat when the balls fall into him anywhere, and he took his chances well today. And yeah, that's about it really.
We said it's really difficult to play against Manchester City in an aggressive way because that makes them vulnerable. Did we see that out there today?
Yeah, definitely. The couple of times that Izzy just mentioned it there, and the couple of times that Bournemouth didn't quite get real pressure. For 25 minutes they did, until the goal really. They didn't get that 1 moment, 2 moments where they didn't get the pressure. Man City play up, back and through, and Haaland's in the space is a real problem.
Yeah, and if you try to play that high line, we know, and we knew this about Haaland from his Dortmund days, that he can play in behind that.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised at Bournemouth today actually playing so high line. I know they pressed City really high up the pitch, But as Matt rightly says, they've got the players to play through in that high press. There's not very many teams that come to the Etihad, Kelly, and press so high. We've seen Senesi jump here ridiculously high, and you've got the likes of Haaland and the pace that he has. There's no defender in the world catching him. His eyes are wide open now for goal opportunity. Here again, you see with the second goal. Most teams, when they come to that, they're 20 or 30 yards deeper than us. There's no space in behind to play Haaland in these kind of positions. And you could say it's brave if it comes off. You know, it's brilliant from Bournemouth because they're so high up in the Premier League. But really, Haaland should have had a hat-trick. This is his chance to make it free. And the only thing we're shocked about in the shooter is how he didn't score, because it feels like when he gets into that position, he can never miss. But a little bit surprised. Matt, were you surprised how high the line was, Matt?
No, I was going to say the one thing that, from a Bournemouth point of view, they've had so much success as a football club, and this team has had so much success playing with those tactics that I think it shows real belief in what they're doing to come here and say, no, we're not going to change. We're going to be us and try and be the best version of us. Today, they've been undone by a really, really good team, a top team. But there'll be games that they play that and get rewarded, and that's why they are where they are in the table, because they've been so successful playing in that manner.
And is there a difference between playing high up the pitch and playing aggressively?
Well, you see with the first goal, I don't know whether we can see it back again, but I think it's Alex Scott who's the closest player, and I thought he was absolutely terrific today again. I thought, he proved why he's emerging into a top midfielder. But I think he was the closest player to Gonzalez. When we look at the goal again, we can see it again, which is great. But Haaland drops deep, plays here, Gonzalez. He has time on the ball, and again, no pressure. But then Senesi has to jump out in that moment, and that is what provides the space. So you talk about teams in sync, and Bournemouth are one of the teams in the league who are the most in sync, like Matt said, out of possession and in possession. But I think on that occasion, it's amazing how a yard where there's no pressure on the ball can allow Gonzalez to play over the two lines, and then Haaland's in behind. And that was just a minor detail that had a massive impact against Bournemouth today.
Yeah, and made life difficult for themselves when they're up against a guy who's in such a brilliant streak of form. And they also again, Bournemouth were trying to get back into the game, but this third goal from Nico O'Reilly sort of killed things off from a Bournemouth perspective, didn't it?
I mean, Nico O'Reilly's had a brilliant time. I mean, Haaland's movement here as well, and sometimes Haaland gets a bit of stick for not actually touching the ball. But I think he drives Jimenez out a wee bit, the full-back here for Bournemouth, and it just sort of opens up for O'Reilly, doesn't he? He goes into the position, he goes into the space, and no one really actually gets close to him. And O'Reilly, through the system and through the academy here at Manchester City, he's been an attacking midfielder, so he's comfortable in that position. Maybe Bournemouth don't realise that this is the left-back, he's OK, let him shoot. But it's a brilliant finish from O'Reilly, and he's really stepped up to the plate. I think he's an exciting young talent as well for Man City.
Yeah, real exciting young talent for Manchester City, and fitting that he got that goal, is he?
Yeah, and I think it's a superb. Looking at Núñez and O'Reilly playing at right back, left back for City, and they're both not natural fullbacks, and Pep's coaching them into those roles, and they've proven, from a physical perspective, that they can compete with top wingers in the league. They've nullified Semenyo today. Tavernier played when he came on. I think they did a terrific job. But then, you made an excellent point there about O'Reilly. That number 8 position, box-to-box midfield, that's actually his preferred position coming through. He's now playing left-back, comfortable in that area of the pitch, and proving why, he's such an impact in the team. Because if you play left-back, do you think, am I going to be able to get forward? Well, yeah, you do, in Man City's system. And again, it comes from Cherki and Foden carving through the middle of the Bournemouth kind of midfield. And I think there was graphics there of Pep, some footage of Pep, blowing a kiss to Foden, because he knows how integral he was in that move, in that third goal, which provided the cushion in the end.
Points that put you up to second in the table. How do you reflect on that performance from your side?
And there is no team, no manager, no players. That doesn't mean to beat Bournemouth in the real time. So. It's a so demanding team, so really good team. Happened for many already years since Raúl is here. But we played really good, and it's difficult to remember the threat in behind. For up front is always there, and you have to be so coordinated to our pressing, but especially with the defense today, with the ball we were so clever. We found they played really good, and of course again Erling was decisive.
We'll get on to Erling Haaland goals in a minute, but just how pleased were you with your side's performance against a quite intense Bournemouth side?
No, we knew it. So we experienced last season in the Premier League, they destroyed us. We could not never handle it, nothing, and the FA Cup was much better. he was tight and always have been tight with them, always, because they're so intense, so aggressive, and they open, they're so wide in the process, and they threats with Semenyo and Brooks and all the players. They drop a striker, especially Tavernier, clever when play, so the two holding midfielders, they are so dynamic, and defensives are so aggressive. So listen, today is the second game that they lost. We lost more games than them, so it's a team that is so good.
It was a really quick start from them. They had, of course, that goal that was offside in the opening minute, but Erling Haaland, of course, scored that opening goal. In terms of the timing, how important was it to score at that time?
It was really good, but the problem, the timing is a goal that we concede. That the way you see the replay, and it's unbelievable that it's not fault. So there are things that sometimes it's difficult to understand, so why it's not disallowed and this kind of thing. That was the moment. But we were stable enough to have our momentum to score the second, and have a 2-1 against one with the keeper to not close the game, because one of the talents that admire the most of Bournemouth, that they play minute 1, minute 95 in the same rhythm. Nothing changed, and that is the point.
You were disappointed that it wasn't a foul on Donnarumma. Is that where you saw Brooks, the hand from Brooks onto Donnarumma?
Was that enough clear or not? Yeah, it was.
Let's talk about the Erling Haaland goals, because 2 more goals from him as well. I saw you speaking to him after the game as well. What were you saying to him?
How happy we are, how energy we bring all together. So, and yeah, it's an important week. We start now Champions League. We have an incredible, opportunity to qualify in our games at home, Dortmund, Leverkusen, and after the last game before international break against our biggest rivals in the last decade.
Got to mention as well, Nico O'Reilly got a goal, his first goal of the season. How impressed were you with his performance?
Yeah, really good. Both fullbacks, Mateus and Nico, have been outstanding. It's not easy to handle the opponents that they have. It was really, really good.
Pep, thank you very much for your time.
A player of the match performance from Erling Haaland. 2 goals. He could have had a third, but he was subbed off. Would you have been raging if that was it?
Yeah, I can tell that he doesn't want to be taken off as well. But I think he understands the bigger picture. He just lives for goals. I love his attitude. I see what he wants to do. I understand what he wants to do. I understand how much the goals mean to him. He's not bothered whether he has these touches, whether he's involved in the game. As long as he gets 1 or 2 chances during a game, then he'll be happy. Now, I can imagine last weekend when he didn't score, he'd have been raging. And this game couldn't have come quick enough for him. And he's got his 2. And there's no doubt that he'll be thinking tonight, should have been 3. He'll be thinking about, as well as the 2 he scored, he'll be thinking, I should have put the other one in.
Yeah, because Stuart, you actually said that looked the simplest of the 3 chances, the one that he had for the hat-trick.
I think so. I think he had more time on the third one. It looked as though he was going to mix up the finishes a little bit. It was the right... I just think he failed to get the correct elevation on the finish that he had. But listen, I love listening to him. He never dives on the floor. He never tries to sort of con the referee. He's cold. He's clinical. He is an absolute finishing machine. And it's a pleasure to watch him, to be fair.
It is the finishing that will grab the headlines naturally, and the goals. But let's talk through Erling Haaland's day and his contribution overall.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a handful. His job is to be really awkward and really difficult to play against. You know he's decent in the air. We know how quick he is if you're going to leave that space in behind. And I think that's where it's slightly changed for Man City, whereas they're looking quicker to get the ball into him, into the build-up. And then when it does happen, that happens. If you're going to defend like that, then there's only one thing going to happen, and he's going to punish you because of his pace, because of his ability to run with the ball, and then clearly he's top-class, lethal finisher. And it's great that he gets across the defender, but then that second touch to then push it away from the goalkeeper is really, really impressive. And this is the one he might be thinking about tonight, that he should have had his hat-trick. I can see what he's trying to do, something different to the other 2, but he just doesn't get the height on it. And again, early ball into the box. That wasn't quite happening when he first came to the club, because they might have gone back and across to the other side, but early ball into him now, and he is loving playing in that Man City side. And who wouldn't? Which centre-forward wouldn't when you're as good as him and as direct as him?
I think as well, the way Pep analyses football, I bet you every summer, every off-season, they sit down and think, how can we get some more out of Erling Haaland? How can we supply him with the chances that he's so clinical at finishing?
That takes him to 98 Premier League goals, which means that Alan Shearer's record lives to fight another day, but he is inching closer. 107 appearances and 2 goals left to get. You did it in 124.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident he'll do it. Whether he does it the next one or the one after, he'll do it. I love his attitude. I love everything about him. I love how goals are his life. And that comes across in his interviews, it comes across in his performances, and I've got great respect for him because I've been there and I know that feeling, and it's the best feeling in the world, I promise you.
Erling Haaland has 17 goals in all competitions for Manchester City. Just look at the difference, Stuart, between him and the next top scorer, 2, Ryan Shecky, Jeremy Doku, Phil Foden, and own goals, of course, on 2. An over-reliance, we talked about it, because last season we saw what happened when Erling Haaland was out for a period of time.
Yeah, that's always a big worry. You know, if you do sign a striker into the football club and you notice there, all the players that have scored as well, none of them are really recognised centre-forwards. So they've literally got Haaland or nobody. But if you sign a centre-forward, what centre-forward's going to, worth their salt, is going to want to come and be understudy to Erling Haaland? Because you're not going to play.
Maybe the issue then not that he is scoring too many goals or they're too reliant on him, more that the rest of the team isn't adding in?
There isn't an issue. There's an issue if he gets injured. But at the minute, whilst he's playing like that, whilst he's scoring, whilst he's as fit as he is, or anyone, but there's only an issue if or when he gets that knock or if he gets injured. At the minute, he's doing everything that he can for the team. And if the others, he's going to get 45 or 50 goals this season if he goes out and continues this form. But if the others chip in, if Foden gets 8, if Doku gets 6 or 7, if Cherki gets 6 or 7, then that's fine. No problem. They'll be there or thereabouts, you know, and they'll be challenging not only for the Premier League but for other cup competitions as well. So I don't see it being that much of an issue at all.
OK, well, for Bournemouth, it is a first defeat since the opening night of the season. Let's get post-match reaction from their camp. Here's their manager, Andoni Iraola.
Andoni, just a second defeat all season. How did you see that from your point of view today?
Yes, at the end, to try to get something from this kind of games, you need something special, and there were moments, especially with the 2-1, we had 2 clear chances from Junior Kropi. We didn't punish them, and after it was more difficult. I think in the first half, Alan was very good. We decided to go and press like we always do, but he found our backs, I think, in the first 2 goals very well, and there are risks that you have to accept sometimes when you play like this, and they punish us. I'm pleased with the performance overall, but you need special things to get something from these games.
That fascinates me. Despite doing your game plan, sometimes you have to say that player, as in Haaland, is that good.
Yes, it's that good. I think they asked me yesterday in the press conference that he hadn't scored in the league against us, something like this, and bad decision to ask me this, because normally he's in a great form, and obviously with the space is very difficult to defend, but we didn't want to change our way of playing, and it's true that probably between the centre backs, these moments that you have to react a little bit more quick, and he punished us 2 times. I think that the timing was not there from our centre backs. He went against the keeper.
Was that the frustration having got back to 1-1 from the corner?
Yes, at the end, I think we started quite well. We had the disallowed goal that it was clear offside, but I think we were playing well. Probably in the moment where we were feeling more comfortable, we conceded the first goal. We fight again. You get the 1-1, but has been also a lovely movement from them. One touch, finding us in behind, and you have to accept. I think probably second half we were controlling more the game. You are losing, and they kind of take a step backwards and they leave you a little bit on the ball. But I think we were playing well. We were arriving, and these 2 chances, I think, from Junior especially, were our moment also, to score the 2-2 and probably face the last minutes in a different way.
But just finally, in the bigger picture, if it says you in August, you're going to get into November, lose only twice to Liverpool and Manchester City away, you would have taken that, wouldn't you?
Yes, of course. No, we are in a good spot in the sense of we have 18 points. I think the two losses, Liverpool and City away, you need not only to compete well, or no, you need something special to get something from these places. And now we have another difficult game, Villa away. So Premier League is very demanding. Everything is super tight, and we have to prepare and recover well, because today a lot of players finish with knocks, and I hope we don't lose players for the next one.
Yeah, on that, just quickly, how is Semenyo?
Antoine was good. It was, I think, a knee at the back, and I think also Tyler was a knock. Probably Alex Jimenez is the one that looks more ugly, but I hope we don't lose him also.
Thanks, Andoni.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
What's fascinating to me, Stuart, well, there are two things. The first one from that interview is him saying, yes, the defence, which we've already criticised some of the mistakes that they made today, but he said Haaland was just that good.
In all honesty, I think because it was Haaland, you almost make excuses for the two centre-halves. Make no mistake, they were woeful mistakes by the centre-halves. Picking when to go forward, when the centre-forward was going in behind. Really bad. You know full well where Haaland's going to go in, every chance he's going to score. But he'll be livid. Any manager will be livid, because they've gone to Manchester City and they've handed them 2 easy goals.
Oh.
No, that is right, and I agree with him as well, is that if you don't defend correctly, then this guy will punish you. But having said that, they got punished, but they still had their moments, even the second half, where they did have one particularly good chance with Krupi that he put wide. And it's those moments that and when he's saying you have to do something special, those are the moments when you get that opportunity, because City aren't as good as they were defensively. They do give you the opportunities. We saw that with a mistake from Donnarumma. They give the second half chance to Krupa. He failed to take that. They go up the other end, they get the third one, and at 3-1, you're looking at that and thinking they're not going to get anything out of the game now. But in terms of the big picture, you can hear him. He'd be absolutely delighted with the start that Bournemouth have made.
Yeah, that was the other thing that stood out for me, was just the fact that he said at Anfield and at the Etihad Stadium, you need something special to win there. And the run that they have been on, look, it is their first defeat in 9 games. It has been impressive.
It's been very, very impressive, make no mistake. As I say, them and Sunderland are the standout teams in the top half of the league. And I think Bournemouth's performances, both at City and at Liverpool, were decent performances, I really do.
Yeah, big celebrations with Haaland at the final whistle, but he did take him off on a hat-trick. Is that, you think, about managing him, especially with what's to come?
Yeah, and also as well, you've got to understand, it's not all about Erling Haaland. You know, Pep's got to consider 25 players, and players that are sat behind him that are desperate to get on the pitch and be part of the winning environment and that type of thing. So that's something that plays on his mind as a manager. You know, you're trying to keep everyone happy and keep the squad bubbling along.
Yeah, that run does look quite tricky, doesn't it? Dortmund, Liverpool, Newcastle, just in the next 3, Alan.
Yeah, it is, and that's one of the reasons why I think you got the international break after next weekend, which he knows he's going to be away. So he's trying to protect him. He's seen how important he is to his team and what he's doing in terms of the goals that he's scoring this season. I mean, he scored more than he ever has done, and his record before the season was very, very impressive. So he's just trying to look after him and protect him.
So City into second now in the Premier League. Are they going to be the main challengers then to the team that currently leads the league, Arsenal?
I'm not sure well, they're going to be one of the main challenges, there's no doubt about that. I think Liverpool need to find their rhythm and find it very quickly, you know, and I think they'll get better as the season goes on. But I think between these 3 sides, Chelsea will be somewhere in and around it. They've certainly got a decent depth of squad with good young players that can keep improving this year. So how close they'll get, I don't know. But we could have a really intriguing Premier League title race this year.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the 3 that are there will be the 3 that will be there at the end. I think after 10, 12 games, the league normally sort of tells a story which it'll be somewhere near what happens towards the end. And those 3 will be there or thereabouts. I think Arsenal have just set a different standard this season in terms of how tough they've been defensively. And they've set the benchmark for everyone to catch, and Liverpool have had their problems. City are not as good as they were defensively, but whilst they've got that guy up front scoring that amount of goals, they're always going to have an opportunity. So it's going to be between those three, yeah.